let's talk about feminine leadership. All of you have demonstrated care, empathy, and collaborative approach in your leadership. Is this unique to women leaders, or is this common? Is there such a thing as feminine leadership? Is this the care, empathy, collaborative approach you've shown? And we can talk maybe about your individual experiences.
Answer your question, no, I personally believe in a feminist leadership. And by that, I mean creating a more empowering environment for my fellow women and those, especially those who most probably have experienced inequality as women and discrimination as women and other sectors of the same experience. But I think empathy and caring are not qualities that are exclusive for women only. So I believe in those values too, and I apply them not only because I am a woman, but because I am a human being, and I believe as a human being, I believe in human rights and dignity. But I also see this as an advantage because as a woman, I have experienced inequality myself. No, I have experienced discrimination myself as a lawyer, as a person coming from the island, studying in Manila. You experience this all the time. And because you have this experience, you understand what it means to be in that situation. So I think it becomes an advantage then and to become a woman and to even more put empathy and care to your leadership. I think becomes more empowering for others who have experienced the same inequality or discrimination. So yes, I believe in a feminist leadership, and I think that is so required in my position right now.
I kind of like agree with Gov Kaka that we don't really, like women don't really have a monopoly over all of these leadership traits that really make you an effective leader. So things like humility, empathy, etc. But maybe there's one thing that we have monopoly over, which is motherhood. I mean, men can never be mothers. So there's certain traits which I think are related to motherhood that make women better leaders, right? And so the ability to actually deal with pain, to be pregnant, to give birth, to actually take care of to breastfeed and all that. So I think that we're wired differently in that sense, meaning I believe that there are physiological differences. So like when we talk about like in Congress, okay, let me just tell you the context. So there are 301 Congress people, 85 are women. And if you look at the five most powerful committees, namely appropriations, ways and means, accounts, rules, and maybe the minority, these are all chaired by men. There are 22 deputy speakers. Of the 22 deputy speakers, only 4 are women. So clearly, women in Congress are in the minority. But but really, that doesn't really stop those 85 women from pursuing whatever advocacies they have. And many times we are effective on our own. I mean, despite being in the minority. And when I observe the women at work, I see that apart from humility, empathy, attention to detail, for example, I really think that there's stamina. I mean, women are in that sense like stronger. I mean, there's like greater tenacity. That's just something that I observe.
Definitely to all. So actually, what Gov Kaka and Kong Stella have said are some things that I can already relate to. I wish in a perfect world we didn't have to talk about feminine leadership versus masculine leadership, but unfortunately, we are all products of society, and that's how we've been raised, especially in Filipino society, where there are very clear gender roles. Right. And there are very clear like gender qualities. You're macho or you're para kang babae. You know, all those kinds of talk points to how we have very clear gender stereotypes. So it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes people will say on the negative side, they can say we're too soft. You know, women leaders are too soft. It's a different set of skills. But on the other side, in crisis situations like what we face now, we find that these feminine qualities or so-called feminine qualities become strengths. So we've been reared to be caring and all those things. So it's now very obvious that these qualities are becoming strengths for all of us. So, and siguro that's why at this point it's being highlighted that women leaders are excelling during these times because we do show those qualities of care, empathy, of being participative and collaborative. And that can go back to how growing up and going through all the things we've gone through, we've also felt that. We've also been marginalized at some points. We've been discriminated upon. So that makes us more humble, as what the previous speakers were saying. And I think it also makes us try to put ourselves in other people's situations. So because of that, we're able to understand where our constituents are, what their needs are, and that allows us to become more responsive leaders because we're used to that kind of approach to seeing and putting ourselves in other people's situations. So I think our experiences as women going through life has allowed us to become this kind of leader. So I guess to answer the question, is there such a thing as feminine leadership in this world? There is such a thing. But again, it's not a monopoly. We can't say automatically all women are good leaders or exhibit this quality and men don't. So it really depends on what kind of leader you are. It just so happens that in our society, we've been led towards this path and it has allowed us to excel in addressing the crisis that we're facing now.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to share our experiences here in Tabaco and my personal experience as a woman leader. I do agree with Kaka, with Congresswoman and my friend Trina. We've been together in several sessions now. Gender really are socially constructed roles, no? How we see women and how we see men and what our expectations are of them. And I do agree that there are feminine qualities, no, in leaders that may be considered soft. Like being caring, being more empathetic, most probably learning to say, na, I don't know the answer, but I will try to get to that answer. But still, there are also qualities that we possess that may be considered more male, like being decisive and being strict. No, but what I'm saying is that it is not just feminine leadership traits, but also women having predetermined masculine traits, such as exuding confidence, being more decisive, and appearing to be in control. Now, I was raised in a family of 7 children, and I'm the eldest. And my father, Edsel Lagman, is I think has many feminine characteristics of a leader. No? But he is so into multitasking, and I think I have imbibed that. And he is so organized and detailed, and he looked at the small details. So what I'm saying is that I agree with the former speakers. There is no monopoly, but in our society, we are now allowed to be more feminine. No? And I chose a profession which is nursing, which is also a very feminine profession. It's about caring, and it's about taking care of the sick, and not only the sick, but also the family and then the community. And Marites, we deal with women during this crisis every day. Our frontliners are mostly women. Our BHWs in the barangays are women. Our teachers who will soon be facing a big obstacle of distance learning and blended learning are mostly women. And so I really salute our social workers. No? Doon sa self-distribution, they're mostly women. And I do agree. Pagdating sa pain threshold, talagang mas mataas ang threshold of pain. Tolerance, yes, mas patient din tayo. And then we can simplify the complex. And I think that is the first thing that I really want to share as a strategy in our case here in Tabaco. I know that to lead my people, to lead my constituents, we have to be on the same page. And so I have to simplify the complex issues of COVID. And so I have to have a communication plan so that everyone would be on the same page and we will understand it can be fought and we can win the battle. And this is what we're going to do. So I think, yes, there is such a thing as feminine leadership. And I do agree that it is not a monopoly of women. But I hope that these female traits or these feminine traits can be imbibed more by male leaders.